สวัสดีค่ะวันนี้เป็นรายการอบรมครูทางไกลผ่านดาวเทียมนะคะโดยความร่วมมือของมูลนิธิการศึกษาทางไกลผ่านดาวเทียมสถานทูตสหรัฐ TOT สถาบันภาษาจุฬาลงกรณ์มหาวิทยาลัยและสมาคมไทยทีโซสำหรับวันนี้อยู่ในหัวข้อเป็นครั้งที่3นะคะ Shaping the way we teach English ซึ่งวิทยากรของเราก็คืออาจารย์มินดี้ก่อนที่เราจะเริ่มรายการนะคะขอเรียนเชิญท่านขวัญแก้วได้กรุณากล่าวนำสักนิดนึงค่ะ
Good morning, Mr. George Wilcox, Regional English Officer, the Embassy of the United States of America in Bangkok. Associate Professor Naraporn, the teacher participants at Bangkok site, Hua Hin, and Nakhon Si Thammarat, and the audience who joined the TV broadcasting program. Today comes the last session of Video Conference English Teaching DVC series. Distance Learning Foundation, the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok, have gone for 3 years since 2004 in pioneering a training series for English teachers using video conference technology for media transmission among different locations. Over the time, the so-called training the trainer session prominently encouraged and facilitated teachers to experience innovative techniques and methods of teaching English, as well as exchange resources from the American professors in the field. From video conference to TV broadcasting via satellite technology, there is no limit in terms of time and place for teachers to update knowledge and skill for their professional development. Our sincere thanks go to the Regional English Office, the Embassy of the United States of America in Bangkok, Language Institute, Chulalongkorn University, Thai TESOL, and the TOT Public Company. We hope to work in partnership with all of you in the near future. For teacher participants here in Bangkok and in Hua Hin and Nakhon Si Thammarat, as well as those who view the program on TV broadcasting channel, we do appreciate your time, energy, and efforts in participating in this program. Congratulations on your success. We wish you all the best of life and profession. Thank you.
ค่ะ เนื่องจากครั้งนี้เป็นการอบรมครั้งสุดท้ายในชุดนี้นะคะดิฉันขอเรียนเชิญคุณจอร์จ วิลค็อกซ์ Regional English Language Officer ประจำสถานทูตสหรัฐกรุงเทพได้กรุณากล่าวอะไรสักเล็กน้อยค่ะ
Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to introduce Ms. Mindy Visser. Mindy has a master's degree in teaching English as a second language and a foreign language from Northern Arizona University. Today she'll be focusing on individualizing learning using one of the 14 modules or lessons from our new DVD teacher training series, Shaping the Way We Teach English, Successful Practices Around the World. Although our pilot series of 3 video conferences is ending today, it is our intention to initiate and carry through with a much longer video conference series beginning in June, with the majority possibly focusing, with the majority of the video conferences focusing on the use of the different modules of Shaping the Way We Teach English. Without further ado then, Mindy Visser.
สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you very much, George, and Ajahn Naraporn and Kun Kwang Gao. today I want to introduce Shaping the Way We Teach English, which is a new series of teacher training modules that have been written by Leslie Beckman and Sarah Klingenhammer. And I believe many of you may have seen Leslie Beckman on this program before, so she may be familiar to you. She's worked very hard to create a series which focuses on successful practices around the world. So today you will see actually a Thai classroom. However, some of the programs have video from classrooms around the world in other countries as well as Thailand. To start, I want to say hello to all of the areas that are working with us today in Bangkok. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome. As well as some of the materials that go with this book. This is Shaping the Way We Teach English. I'm going to show a short introductory video which talks about the series. This book and the videos, as well as a CD which provides extra readings, is available through the Regional English Language Office of the U.S. Embassy, and you can contact Kun Nina. So if you enjoy this talk that we do today, you can look to Kun Nina to try to find these materials.
Welcome to the teacher training series, Shaping the Way We Teach English, Successful Practices Around the World. These introductory materials are designed for English as a foreign language educators who share the following two goals. 1, building an academic or pedagogical foundation, and 2, improving classroom practices. If you have these same goals, then these materials are for you. Shaping the Way We Teach English contains 14 individual modules. The modules are grouped in the following 4 categories and subtopics. Category A, with a focus on approaches to language teaching foundations, is made up of Module 1 on contextualizing language, Module 2 on building language awareness, Module 3 on integrating skills, Module 4 on pair and group work, and Module 5 on learner feedback with a focus on formative evaluation. Category B, with a focus on approaches to language teaching extensions, is made up of Module 6 on classroom management for large classes, Module 7 on learning strategies, Module 8 on using and adapting authentic materials, Module 9 on critical and creative thinking, and Module 10 on alternative assessment with a focus on performance assessment. Category C, with a focus on the learner, is made up of Module 11 on individual learner differences and Module 12 on younger learners with an emphasis on ages 5 to 10. And Category D, with a focus on professional development for educators, is made up of Module 13 on peer observation with an emphasis on formative evaluation practices, and Module 14 on reflective teaching practices. At the heart of each module is a 10 to 14-minute video segment with examples from classrooms and educators around the world. Each module also has corresponding readings and support materials in the manual. We strongly recommend that you go through the pre-viewing activities and the supporting resources in the manual before you view the video. We also encourage you to stop the video at any point to view it again or discuss what you see This will help you interact more fully with the video materials and come away with a deeper understanding of each content area.
What do you do in the morning?
In the video, you will have an opportunity to observe other teachers' practices. Some of these examples are from primary level classes, while others are from secondary level and post-secondary level classes. A variety of teaching styles and cultures are reflected in these examples. Many factors can have an effect on the results that you obtain from using the video and manual resources. Some of these include your own personal reasons and motivation for using these materials,
Okay, Maria Fernanda?
how closely the materials fit with current practices and curriculum in your educational setting, and the degree of flexibility and creativity that you bring to the task of making innovations and changes in your classroom practices. In other words, your willingness to experiment with and seriously try to use different ideas and techniques in your classroom. As you observe other teachers in action and listen to their reflections on teaching, think as flexibly as possible. Look for answers to the questions, what new ideas does this example offer me? How might I adapt this example to my students' language and age level, my curriculum and my institutional setting, my teaching style, and my culture? Please think of your interaction with these materials as a personal challenge to think outside the box and to creatively shape the way you teach English as you experiment with ways you can adapt suggestions or techniques from the video to your own educational settings.
So this is our introduction to this video series. As you saw on the video, this series focuses on language teaching foundations. That's the first section. The second one is approaches to language teaching. So some theoretical ideas as well as some practical ideas for the classroom, focusing on the learner and teacher professional development. Today, we're going to do a module from the focus on the learner section. We're going to be talking about learner differences. And I think this is going to be especially interesting because our video comes from Thailand. So you will be able to observe some teachers that are working in Thailand with very large classrooms and what they do to help their students as individual learners. Today, I want to start out with an activity, and I would like you to take your packet of papers, those of you in Hua Hin, as well as in Nakhon Si Thammarat and in Bangkok. Just turn over your packet of papers to a blank page, if you just have a blank piece of paper. What I would like you to think about first is a group of people that you know, a group of people that you know. It could be family members, maybe some colleagues, some group of people that you know. So I'm going to choose my family. I'm going to choose my family as an example. And I want to choose 3 people from that group, just 3 different people. So I'm going to choose my sisters and brothers. My older sister's name is Gina. And Mark is my brother. And Gretchen is my sister. Sorry, this is not very dark. If you can choose 3 different people from your group, whether it be colleagues or family or maybe some people you went to school with, choose 3 different people from that group, and I would like you to write some personality traits about those people. So I'll give you some examples of the personality traits that I have for my brothers and sisters. My sister Gina, she is a good listener. She's a hard worker. She is patient. And she's a bit shy. Okay? My brother, he's a quick learner. He is likable. He is a good problem solver. So for your 3 people, I'm not going to continue right here, but for your 3 people, I would like you to write some of their personality traits, something about them. It could be the way that they do something, like they are a hard worker, or it could be a personality trait such as patience or being shy or being outgoing, for instance. So I'd like you to write about 4 or 5 things for each person. Nakonsi Tamarat, everyone there understand the activity?
Yes, Mindy,
Okay.
yes. So clear.
And in Hua Hin?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone please
Yes,
write
we
3
do.
people from a group on your paper and write some personality traits of those people. I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes to finish the task.
ค่ะอาจารย์มินดี้ให้เวลา3 นาทีนะคะเลือกคนในครอบครัวมา3 คนแล้วก็ลองเขียนลักษณะบุคลิกลักษณะของแต่ละคนสักชื่อละ3 ลักษณะก็ได้ค่ะนะคะ personality อย่างตัวอย่างที่อาจารย์เขียนให้บนกระดานนะคะ
Okay. In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to speak with a partner. And what I would like you to do when you talk with your partner is to make a tick next to the quality of the person that you think would make that person a good language learner. So if you think it is a quality or personality trait that would make that person a good language learner, I want you to put a tick next to it. So when talking with your partner, you'll be sharing your list about your friends or the people that you have listed, and I want you to put ticks next to the qualities or abilities that you think would make those people good language learners. So please turn to a partner either next to you or nearby and share your list and put a tick next to the things that would make them a good language learner. Okay? Just 2 or 3 minutes to talk with your partner. Please turn to your partner and share with them.
ค่ะขั้นต่อไปนะคะก็ให้อาจารย์จับคู่กันนะคะแล้วก็ดิสคัสกับคู่นะคะโดยที่ดูลิสต์ที่อาจารย์ลิสต์ลักษณะบุคลิกลักษณะของคนที่อาจารย์ลิสต์มาโดยที่ให้ติ๊กเฉพาะลักษณะที่คิดว่าน่าจะเป็นประโยชน์นะคะน่าจะเป็น good language learner เป็นคนที่เรียนภาษาได้ดีนะคะลักษณะอะไรบ้างที่อาจารย์ลิสต์ไว้นะคะอาจจะไม่ทั้งหมดลองดิสคัสกันนะคะค่ะ2 นาทีค่ะ
We may not always know what makes a good language learner, so just take a guess. Just take a guess. What do you think? Doesn't matter if it's correct or incorrect. Just take a guess. What do you think? What qualities make a good language learner?
ค่ะอาจารย์มินนี่บอกว่าคงอาจจะต้องเดานะคะเพราะว่าเราอาจจะไม่ทราบว่าลักษณะของ language learner ที่ดีน่าจะเป็นอย่างไรลองเดาดูซิว่า ลักษณะที่อาจารย์ลิสต์ไว้เนี่ยมีอันไหนที่น่าจะเข้าข่ายบ้างค่ะ
Okay, is everybody ready? Can we share some of the ideas that we came up with? On my list, I think that I would tick someone who is a good listener. Hardworking, I think, is pretty important. What else do you think on these lists might make someone a good language learner? Which one? Problem solver. Maybe a problem solver would be a good language learner.
Ideas quickly.
Yeah, this one. Understands ideas quickly.
Social like to be with others.
Good. Somebody who is social. Anything else? Critical thinker. How about good-humored?
Yes, yes,
I think sometimes we need to be able to laugh at ourselves
yes.
if we're going to be good language learners. Nakonsi Tamarat, can you share some of the ideas that you had or some of the characteristics that you think make someone a good language learner?
Hello. Optimistic,
Optimistic. Good.
sympathetic,
Why sympathetic?
sympathetic to the students.
Oh, the teacher needs to be sympathetic?
Sympathize the students.
Oh, interesting. So if a teacher is sympathetic to students, it will make students better language learners? Maybe. Good. That's a good idea. Hua Hin, can you give me a couple examples from your list, something that you ticked for personality traits?
Okay. Okay. Expressive. Expressive.
Oh, great. Someone who's maybe outgoing and talks a lot? Yeah, good. What else?
Curious.
Curious. Great one. Someone who wants to understand things? What else?
Talkative.
Talkative. Yeah, maybe when we're talkative, we don't worry as much about what we're saying, so we try to use the language. Great. Bangkok, do you have any other ones that you want to add? Tricky? What do you mean tricky?
Love to play with the languages and
Maybe someone who's playful?
Yeah,
Could we say playful? Interesting. Good. So someone who likes to try things. They're playful. Great idea. Somebody else here in Bangkok? What other ideas do you have? Positive thinker. Great. So if we're a positive thinker, we are probably confident that we can do it, right? We feel like we have a chance. So we're more likely to work hard and work towards something because we're positive we can do it. Great. So when we are thinking about learners in our classroom, we're dealing with many different qualities, many different personality traits, and especially in Thailand, where we have classes of sometimes 60 students, that can be really something. First of all, as teachers, can we get to know our students well enough, like we know the 3 people we chose on our list, right? So we have to try to get to know these 60 students and find out a little bit about their personalities. And we also have to think about how can we create a class that helps all of these people with these different personalities personality traits to learn English. It's a pretty tough job, right? Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the personality traits that make good language learners. We are also going to talk about multiple intelligences, which I will explain more later. But multiple intelligences it's a theory about learning and the traits of people and how we learn. So let's start off by looking at the first page of your handout where we have a list of the multiple intelligences. If you can look at page 1 of your handout. Please read the top introductory paragraph. I have a misspelling in there of Gardner's name, but just quickly read through that. Multiple intelligences. This was a theory that was developed by Howard Gardner. And he came up with some ideas about the qualities people have, the way that they learn, and how people are different in the ways that they are intelligent. So some of you might know the idea of IQ and EQ, right? This is a similar theory. It's based on, not based on the same ideas, but talking about how people are intelligent. We are not all intelligent in just one way. Ajahn Naraporn, would you care to?
ค่ะอาจารย์มินดี้ก็กำลังจะนำเข้าสู่เรื่อง multiple intelligence นะคะซึ่งเป็นคอนเซปต์ซึ่ง Professor Howard Gardner เนี่ยได้แนะนำนะคะแล้วก็มีชื่อเสียงมากนะคะแล้วก็มีหนังสือหลายเล่มที่พูดถึง multiple intelligence ซึ่งมีในภาษาไทยก็มีแล้วตอนนี้นะคะมีแปล multiple intelligence ก็คือการที่เรามองว่าคนเราเนี่ยแตกต่างและแตกต่างคือมีความฉลาดมีสติปัญญานะคะที่แตกต่างกันแล้วก็สามารถเรียนรู้ได้ในวิธีการที่แตกต่างกันไม่จำเป็นต้องเรียนรู้ได้ด้วยวิธีเดียวกันอย่างที่อาจารย์เมนดี้บอกเมื่อกี้ก็คือว่าในคลาสรูมของเราเนี่ยนะคะเรามีนักเรียน40 50 60คนเนี่ยเขามีวิธีการเรียนรู้ซึ่งแตกต่างกันซึ่งเราเป็นครูเนี่ยเราจะต้องทำยังไงซึ่งจะหาวิธีที่จะช่วยให้นักเรียนที่มีวิธีการเรียนรู้ที่แตกต่างกันเนี่ยได้เรียนรู้นะคะได้เหมือนกันค่ะ
Thank you. So when we're talking about the multiple intelligences, as you see on your worksheet, there are 8 of them. The first one is linguistic or word smart. People who are good at spelling or are good at remembering vocabulary are very linguistic. People who are good writers are linguistic. How about someone who is logical, mathematical? What might they be good at? Bangkok, what do you think they might be good at? Yeah, they would be good at math, good with numbers. Pardon? Maybe with geography, with looking at maps, maybe. Yeah, someone who is logical, mathematical is good at problem solving. They're good at figuring out how to solve a problem. And how about visual spatial? Oops. Somebody who is visual spatial. Nakonsi Tamarat. What would a person who is visually and spatially intelligent be good at?
Memory. Photographic memory.
Okay. They might be good at remembering something that they see, certainly. He said photographic memory. It means they remember exactly what they saw. You're very lucky if you have that quality, I think. Good. So somebody who is very good with visual spatial intelligence is good at putting things in a visual form that's easy to understand, or they can understand things that are in a chart or a graph or a picture very well. Good. And musical, how about in Hua Hin? If somebody is musically intelligent, what might they be good at? Hua Hin?
Intonation.
Sure, for language learning, they might be good at intonation. Very good. So that's a way that they would be good at language. They might be good at hearing a song and sing that song with the correct tune very easily. Good. So when somebody is musical, it can apply very well to language learning as well. They can use intonation very well. Bodily kinesthetic is somebody who learns by doing something. Could be through physical activity or by taking some physical action, maybe making something or touching something, right? So that's somebody who is very good at bodily and kinesthetic intelligence. Nakonsi Tamarat, how about interpersonal? What would this kind of person be good at doing? Somebody who's interpersonally intelligent.
Like the learner should contact other people. They can get along well with other person, okay? Especially in the classroom, okay? If it's like their peers or their classmates.
Great. Yeah, so working in groups, working with other people, they would be very good at that. Absolutely. And Hua Hin, how about intrapersonal? Somebody in Hua Hin? What might they be good at?
I think that intrapersonal, that you understand yourself, your ability or something like that.
Exactly.
What you can do, right?
Yes, you understand yourself very well. You can understand your motivations or your desires for why you're doing something. Good. So you know yourself very well. And sometimes you work well alone. You don't always have to work with a group to be able to understand something. And then the last one, this one Howard Gardner added later. He added this one much later. Naturalistic, Bangkok, what do you think someone might be good at if they are have a naturalistic intelligence? Yeah, sure, they would know about the environment. They might be able to draw some information or learning from what is around them, right? Great, great. So when we think about these intelligences, it's not that one of us has the intelligence and the other does not. But some of us are stronger in some intelligences and weaker than in others. So for instance, I'm quite strong in bodily kinesthetic, but I'm very poor at intrapersonal. Okay, I'm quite poor at intrapersonal. I'm not very good at figuring my own self out. I can figure others out. I'm quite interpersonal, but not as intrapersonal. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you to think about what you might be good at more than other things. But first, I want to ask you a question. If you were cooking a meal, which of these intelligences do you think you would use the most, or it would need to be strong in order for you to cook a good meal? I'd like you to think about that in Nakonsi Tamarat and Hua Hin. I'm going to ask each of you, each group, to give me some ideas. When you're cooking a meal, which of these intelligences do you need? Interpersonal, but can you cook alone? Yeah, you can cook alone. You do not need to cook in a group necessarily. So maybe if you were cooking with a group, you would need to be interpersonal, right? If you were cooking with a group. What else might you use? Hua Hin, can you give me an idea? What kind of intelligence might you use for cooking a meal?
Bodily kinesthetic.
Okay, good. Bodily kinesthetic, because we need to cut things, we need to stir things, right? We need to use our body a lot when we're cooking, certainly. So good, that's one. Bodily kinesthetic. How about in Nakhon Si Thammarat? Can you think of one of the intelligences that we would really need in order to cook a good meal? Nakhon Si Thammarat, can you hear me?
Yeah. Mindy, we talk a lot here.
Good.
Get your question. The strongest one is we think the bodily kinesthetics, because we have to use our body, and also sometimes we use a logical mathematical, because we should know what we should put in the meal.
How much? How many?
Maybe if we not good at, we will not, the food will not delicious. Because the second thing, bodily kinesthetic and logical, mathematical.
Yeah, great. Logical, mathematical, because we need to know how much of each thing. If we put in too much nam prik, right, or too much prik, maybe it's not going to taste very good. So we have to make sure we know how much of each thing. So good. Mathematical and logical is a good one. Any other ones that anyone can think of? Which one? Naturalistic. Why naturalistic? Very interesting. Good. So we're thinking about our environment, and we're thinking about what kind of healthy food we can find. And we're also thinking about maybe our environment's not so clean, so we need to wash everything, right? So good, yeah, we're thinking about our environment. We're using our body a lot. Maybe if we're cooking with other people, we're thinking about how to get along with them in the kitchen, especially if your kitchen is small and you have to walk around each other. And then logical, mathematical, because we need to know how much of everything that we're putting. Sometimes maybe we would use visual and spatial because we like food to look nice as well as taste and smell nice, right? So in the case of cooking, we would probably be a good cook if we were very intelligent in bodily kinesthetic, in naturalistic, in logical, mathematical, and visual spatial areas. In your packet that you have, you will notice that I have given you a test about your intelligences. But the test takes quite a long time, so I don't want you to do it while we're here today. I would like you to take that test home, and you can do it on your own. But you'll see on the bottom of your piece of paper that I've asked you 3 questions. And the first question is, what do you think are your strongest intelligences? So I would like you to just take a guess right now, and then maybe when you take the test, you can see if it actually matches or not. So I'm going to ask Ajahn Narapon to translate for you now. And after we do that, I want you to start in on question number 1 and question number 2. Okay? So Ajahn Narapon, could you translate, please?
Yeah, thank you. ค่ะ อาจารย์มินดี้ก็ได้ยกตัวอย่างนะคะถึงการทำอย่างเช่นว่าถ้าเราจะทำอาหารเนี่ยนะคะอาจารย์ก็ถามว่าเราต้องการเราคิดว่าเราน่าจะมี Mindful Intelligence ในด้านไหนบ้างนะคะซึ่งเราก็ brainstorm กันมาจากทั้งหัวหินนครศรีธรรมราชแล้วก็กรุงเทพว่าอย่างเช่นก็จะต้องมี Bodily Kinesthetic นะคะมี Logical Mathematical Naturalistic แล้วก็ Visual Spatial เป็นต้นนะคะคืออาจารย์เน้นว่าเมื่อเราจะทำอะไรสักอย่างหนึ่งเนี่ยไม่ได้หมายความว่าเราจะต้องมี Mindful Intelligence ทุกด้านนะคะที่กล่าวมาทั้งหมด เราอาจจะ strong ในบางด้านเราอาจจะไม่ strong ในบางด้านเช่นเดียวกันนะคะในการทำอาหารเราก็อาจจะ strong ใน4ด้านนี้นะคะที่ว่ามีความจำเป็นแต่นี่อาจารย์ก็เลยบอกว่าถ้าอย่างนั้นเนี่ยเราลองดูซิว่าmultiple intelligence ให้เราคิดนะคะว่า5ด้านนะคะที่เราคิดว่าเรา strong ที่สุดเนี่ยคืออะไรนะคะของอาจารย์แต่ละท่านลองคิดดูนะคะว่าในตัวเราเนี่ยคิดว่าเราเนี่ย strong ด้านไหนนะคะเราเก่งด้านไหนด้านการคิดเลขด้านการทำกิจกรรมนะคะด้าน interpersonal หรือว่า intrapersonal อย่างนี้เป็นต้นนะคะก็ลองคิดมาสัก5ด้านแล้วก็เสร็จแล้วคำถามที่2ของอาจารย์คือเมื่อเราคิดได้แล้วว่าเรา strong ทางด้านไหน5ด้านเนี่ยแล้วก็คิดว่าทั้ง5ด้านนั้นเนี่ยช่วยให้เราเป็น good language learner อย่างไรนะคะค่ะ2คำถามนี้ค่ะสัก3นาทีนะคะค่ะ
Okay. Thank you. So take just a couple minutes to fill out questions 1 and 2. Fill out questions 1 and 2. I think you can do it rather quickly. So asking yourself, which 5 of the multiple intelligences do you think are the strongest for you? And have these intelligences helped you in language learning? Have they helped you to be a good language learner? Some of them may not, but if they have, you can list them. For question number 3, I'm going to ask you to share with a partner. I would like everyone to take their paper, and I want you to stand up and to find a partner, someone you haven't spoken to before. So stand up with your paper, find a partner, share with them what you think your strongest strongest intelligences are, and also which ones you think helped you with language learning. And I would like you to talk about question number 3 together. So question number 3 asks you, why is multiple intelligences important for teachers? So I would like you to discuss that with your partner. Everyone take your paper and stand up in Hua Hin and in Nakhon Si Thammarat. Find a new partner, someone to talk to. Find someone you don't know, or if you know everybody in the room, someone you haven't talked to for a long time, and discuss your ideas with them. Hua Hin, can you stand up and find a partner?
ค่ะหลังจากอาจารย์ list 5ด้านนะคะที่อาจารย์คิดว่าอาจารย์ strong นะคะ multiple intelligence นี่ก็ลองมา discuss กับเพื่อนนะคะดูว่าด้านไหนที่คิดว่าจำเป็นสำหรับครูสอนภาษาค่ะ
These are your strongest ones? Great. So let's just talk quickly about which of the intelligences you think are especially important for language learning. So you talked a little bit about what you think about yourself, and then I asked you to think about which one of these things or which of the intelligences you thought helped you to be a language learner, a good language learner. So of the 8 that we have listed on the board, which ones do you think helped you to be a good language learner? Yes. Linguistic. Absolutely. If we're good with words, good with language, obviously that's going to be very helpful for language learning. Great. How about in Hua Hin? Something that one of the intelligences you think is good for language learning?
So Mindy, we have several reactions. Let's start with the first one. Okay.
Hello, my name is Polani from Hua Hin. I think about the musical. Because when I teach a student, the musical is held the student just fun in the class. And I think it's in the music have many things for show the student about the country, about everything when I need to teach the student. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, Mindy, and we have another one.
Okay.
I come from ดารุณศึกษา I like artistic and librarian
Sorry, artistic?
to draw picture.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good, good. So that's a great point. When we're talking about art, we usually talk about something, a visual or a spatial intelligence. And oftentimes pictures help us a lot to learn language. That's true because we can remember things when we see them as well as hear them. We're much better at remembering language. So that's definitely good. So when we're thinking about pictures or art or something visual, and they've done a lot of studies about people who are good musicians. And it's true that people who are good at making music are often very good at learning languages also. Because maybe they can remember from just hearing something, or they are good at repeating the sounds, so their pronunciation is often very good. Great. In Nakamsi Tamarat, do you have any others to add to the list?
Last one?
Anything you say. The one that you told me.
Okay, Nakamsi Tamarat, I'm going to say something about the last one, naturalistic. Because I come from Zimbabwe, I came to Thailand. Usually when I speak English, I speak very fast. But when I came here, I learned to speak very slowly. So I learned to speak a language very slowly. So I learned something from the new environment.
Okay, great. Yeah, and you know, sometimes we think about Thailand where there may not be too many places in Thailand, in Bangkok maybe, and in the tourist place where we can learn a language. But if we have some surroundings that cause us to learn a language, that can be very helpful. So, for instance, you changed the way you spoke English because of your surroundings. So that's a very good point. Was there anything else in Bangkok you want to add? Any other one? Yes? Logical, mathematical. Why do you think that one? Okay, so maybe for grammar or phonetics, something that has some structure. Languages have structure. So when we think about language in a structural way, like grammar or phonetics, we can think about it in a logical or mathematical way. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, so we see that there are many qualities that might make us better language learners. One other that I think I would add is probably interpersonal, especially if we're talking about speaking and listening. If we're not so good at being with other people or understanding people's motivations, we might not communicate very much. And that is a deterrent. It doesn't make us very good language learners if we're not going to speak to other people. So that's another thing that might make us better language learners. So the last question, I think, is quite an obvious answer, but I'd just like to get an opinion from each side. So why do we want to think about multiple intelligences as teachers? Why is it important to us? So in every group, just one person from each side, maybe can you give us your opinion about question number 3? Let's start in Bangkok. Someone in Bangkok want to share their idea? Am I putting you on the spot? Ajahn, do you have an answer that you could share with us?
Me?
Anyone. Anyone. Why are multiple intelligences important to us as teachers? Go ahead.
because you have as many children in the classroom with different makeups.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have students with different strengths and different weaknesses. So we need to think about how we can meet all of their needs. How about in Nakhon Si Thammarat? Someone share their idea?
I think interpersonal is the most important for teachers because we can understand our student and we get along easily with another people.
Very interesting. Okay, so you shared the idea that you think one is more important than the other for language learning. That may be true in terms of wanting students to speak. However, in general, for multiple intelligences, we have to remember that not all of our students will be interpersonal. So we have to try to meet the needs of everyone in the class. How about in Hua Hin? Anything that you would like to share about question number 3? Or did we say it all already?
Okay. Because we know the different needs from the students, and we can put something that's necessary for them.
Great.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. So that's the biggest challenge that we have. We know that we have 60 students or 30 students in our classroom, and that all of them will have different strengths and weaknesses. But how do we meet the needs of the students? How do we create activities that are going to meet the strengths of some students some days and the strengths of other students maybe the next day, or even in the same class period if we can? So the next activity I would like you to do is on page 3 and 4. And we're going to have to do this activity rather quickly. And unfortunately, it's written very tiny. On page 4, you see a chart. So a visual, spatial person might be very good at this activity. On this chart, there are some activities that are listed in the boxes. The activities correspond with the intelligence as well as the skill that we're asking the students to practice. So when you go home, you can take a magnifying glass and you can read this. It might give you some ideas about activities that might meet your students' needs. But today, what I would like you to do is I would like you to work in a small group to figure out where the 11 items on page 3 fit into this graph. So you'll see on the graph that there are some places where it's an empty box. So for instance, we have number 1. It says, learners reorder a jumbled version of events in a chapter of a novel that they have just read. Where on this chart do you think that might fit? Does it fit on speaking, bodily, kinesthetic, or the empty box by logical, mathematic, and writing? Where does it fit? Can you think? Number 1, learners reorder a jumbled version of events in a chapter of a novel they have just read. Where do you think it belongs?
Also this one. Logical, mathematical.
Okay, logical, mathematical. And with which one, Ajahn Anirudh?
This one.
Literature, yes. So, number 1, you would put in the box of literature and logical, mathematical. Okay? So, please turn to work with maybe a group of 3 or 4 people and work on this together. I would like you to do it as quickly as you can because we don't have a lot of time. But you can look at it more later after we're finished with this talk today. So just go through it quickly.
ค่ะกิจกรรมนี้นะคะอาจารย์มินดี้ก็ให้อาจารย์ดูหน้า3กับหน้า4นะคะหน้า4ก็จะเป็นตารางนะคะที่ด้านหนึ่งก็จะเป็นทักษะนะคะทักษะภาษาอังกฤษแล้วอีกด้านหนึ่งเป็น intelligence นะคะให้ดูคำถามนะคะดูประโยคในหน้า3นะคะทั้ง11ประโยคอาจารย์ทำข้อ1เป็นตัวอย่างแล้วนะคะว่ากิจกรรมนั้นเนี่ยนะคะ learners reorder a jumbled version of events in a chapter of a novel they have just read นั่นน่ะนะคะก็ตกอยู่ในช่องใดนะคะตรงกับสกิลใดแล้วก็ intelligence ใดนะคะซึ่งเมื่อกี้ก็อาจารย์ก็ได้ตอบกันว่าอย่างเช่นลงในช่องของทักษะที่เป็น literature แล้วก็ intelligence ก็เป็นlogical is that right
Logical, mathematical
and literature ค่ะนะคะที่อาจารย์ได้ตอบไปนะคะซึ่งนี่จริงๆก็มีอีกคำตอบหนึ่งทางนี้นะคะบอกว่าลงช่อง reading เป็น bodily kinesthetic นะคะก็คือการที่reorder jumble version ค่ะอาจารย์ลองทำข้อ2ถึงข้อ11นะคะดูซิว่าลงช่องใดค่ะให้เวลาสัก2นาทีนะคะอาจารย์ทำอย่างเร็วเลยไม่ยากเลยนะคะ
If you're having trouble doing it in order 1, 2, 3, 4, just skip around and find the ones that are easy first. So do the easiest one first and then go back and the more difficult ones later. I think most people are almost finished. So I'd like to go through and see how far we got on this activity. So we know that on the charts, number 1 belongs in the box that corresponds with logical, mathematical, and literature, correct? So you put it on the chart. You put the number 1 on the chart. Number 2, the activity says, learners listen to music extracts and decide how they relate to a text that they have read. Hua Hin, where does number 2 belong on the chart? Where does number 2, the activity number 2, belong on the chart?
Musical.
Okay, great. Musical and what is the skill?
Reading skill.
Reading skill, exactly. So on your chart, it should match with reading skill and musical. Great. How about number 3, Nakonsi Tamarat? Learners complete a chart or diagram while listening to a CD. Where does number 3 belong on the chart? What is the intelligence and what is the skill?
Listening.
Linguistic. Spatial.
And?
Spatial.
Yes, spatial. Listening and spatial for number 3. So the spatial is because we're working with a chart. So it shows things very visually. Great. Bangkok. Number 4, learners play a game where they obtain information from various places in the classroom and report back. What is the intelligence and what is the skill? Where does that one belong? Anyone? Number 4? Yeah, I hear it. Somebody say it out loud for me. What's the intelligence? Is it interpersonal? It is interpersonal, but that's not the one we're looking for in this case. Think about various places in the classroom. If things are various places in the classroom, yes, bodily kinesthetic, and what is the skill? Yes, speaking because they have to report back. Good. So we're teaching speaking, but we're using the bodily kinesthetic because they're moving around the room. Number 5, Hua Hin. Learners test each other's vocabulary. Number 5, Hua Hin, what is the intelligence and what is the skill? Hua Hin, do you know?
Interpersonal vocabulary.
Great. Interpersonal because they're talking to each other, and vocabulary because they're testing each other's vocabulary. Great. Nakonsi Tamarat, number 6. Learners write a letter after listening to a text.
Linguistic.
Linguistic. Good. And what is the skill?
Linguistic. Listening skill.
Yes, good. Linguistic and listening. Linguistic because we are writing a letter, and listening because we listen to a text first. Great. How about number 7, Bangkok. Learners write a diary for a few days in the life of a character in a book. Interpersonal? Oh, sorry, yeah, intrapersonal and? Is it writing? Not writing, it's literature. Although I think you could say writing is okay. You are practicing the skill of writing also. But in this case, our blank is here, so we know it's about literature because they read a novel. They read a novel, and they're talking about characters from a book. Good. Hua Hin, number 8. Learners label objects in the classroom with names. Number 8. Hua Hin? What is the intelligence and what is the skill? Anyone in Hua Hin?
Mathematical,
spatial
literature.
and speaking.
For number 8? It's not
Logical,
spatial.
mathematical, literature.
Vocabulary.
And vocabulary.
You've named a lot of them that might be a part of the activity, but we're looking for where it fits on the chart. Where it fits on the chart. So number 8, the labels, they're labeling objects in the room. So, yeah, they're moving around and they're putting words all around the classroom. So where would it fit?
How about kinesthetic and vocabulary?
Yes, good. Bodily, kinesthetic, and vocabulary. But I think actually you could say spatial too. You can definitely say spatial too. Some of the activities we have here, you could say many other different intelligences, but we're trying to fit it in this chart. So we want you to fit it in the chart, okay? Bangkok. Learners cut out a picture from a magazine and label it. Number 9. Where does number 9 belong? Spatial, vocabulary. Good. Number 9, spatial and vocabulary. Nakunsi Tamarat, number 10. Learners do an activity associated with nature, like walking by the sea, which you can do in Nakunsi Tamarat, but we can't do it in Bangkok. And they write a story in past tense. Where does it belong?
Naturalist.
Naturalist, good,
And grammar.
Grammar, good, because we're working with past tense. And finally, Hua Hin, number 11. Learners write steps in a process, like a recipe. Where does it belong on the chart?
Logical, mathematics, writing.
Great. Logical, mathematic, and writing. Great. So you can see from this chart how you might even take a chart like this and use it on your own to think about how you can create activities that meet the intelligence needs of your students as well as practicing skills. So you could create a chart of your own like this and try to use it in your classroom. When you're making your lesson plans, think about, where does it fit in this chart? How many intelligences might I be using in this activity? And what skill am I practicing? We often talk about skills when we're talking about teaching, but we don't often think about the intelligences of our students and how the activities fit with their intelligences. So you could use a chart like this to test your own teaching. What intelligences do I use? What do you think when you're teaching? Which intelligences are you most likely to use when you're teaching? What do you think? It's kind of a trick question, actually, because the intelligences you're probably most likely to use are the ones that you are best at as a teacher. So if you are very good at working interpersonally, you're more likely to have a lot of interpersonal activities in your class. Or if you are very logical mathematical, you are more likely to have more logical mathematical activities in your class. So the challenge is creating activities that don't use your intelligences as a teacher. Okay, can you translate?
ค่ะจากกิจกรรมทั้งหมดนี้นะคะก็เราก็ทางอาจารย์มินดี้ก็แนะนำนะคะกิจกรรมว่าให้เราลองดูนะคะว่าจะเป็นแมทช์ในตารางตรงไหนนะคะว่าตรงกับทักษะอะไรแล้วก็ความสามารถด้านไหนนะคะอันนี้อาจารย์ก็บอกว่าแต่ว่ามีประเด็นหนึ่งก็คือว่าเราเนี่ยมักจะทำอะไรก็ตามโดยที่เราเน้นความสามารถstrength ของเราทางด้านนั้นอย่างเช่นถ้าเราเป็นคนที่มี interpersonal skill มากเราก็อาจจะจัดกิจกรรมในห้องที่ให้เด็กเนี่ยได้ทำกิจกรรมร่วมกันนะคะทำ group work pair work มากๆนะคะแต่อาจารย์มินดี้บอกว่าแต่ความเป็นครูเนี่ยนะคะเราก็ต้องนึกไปถึงเด็กด้วยว่าเด็กก็มีความสามารถด้านต่างๆที่แตกต่างจากครูเพราะฉะนั้นเวลาเราทำ lesson plan กำหนดกิจกรรมอะไรก็ตามเนี่ยเราควรนึกถึงเด็กด้วยนะคะว่าเหมาะกับเด็กไหมนะคะเด็กเขามี strength ด้านไหนนะคะ weakness ด้านไหนนะคะเราควรจะส่งเสริมด้านไหนไม่ใช่ว่าเอาตัวครูเป็นตัวตั้งค่ะ
Okay. Thank you. So as you can see, multiple intelligences are really important when we're thinking about how to teach our class. So today, we're going to show you a video, and the video includes some teachers and students from Thailand. And I want you to take out the worksheet that you will find on page 2. There's some questions on this worksheet that I would like you to think about when you're watching the video. There are two segments to the video. So first we have an introductory portion, and we will go through that. And after we finish the introduction, we will ask you to look at the classroom. So let's just watch the introduction first, and then we'll go.
Individual learner differences. Learners in one classroom are both similar and, at the same time, different. A learner-centered approach to teaching requires teachers to understand this duality and to be aware of the different ways in which students learn. Some differences may be easier to see or discover, such as age, gender, socioeconomic conditions, and level of education. Other differences may be more difficult to identify, including overall cognitive ability or intelligence and cognitive development in younger learners, learners' language proficiency levels, and their motivation for language study, learners' personality traits along with their learning strengths, styles, and preferences. Module focus, introduction. The focus in Module 11 is on how teachers can vary teaching approaches and techniques to help facilitate learning for a wide variety of students. They can vary the type of language input along with the content and the medium of delivery. They can vary learner tasks. They can teach learning strategies. They can help students take responsibility for their own learning, and they can use group work appropriately. Number 1, viewing points for...
Okay, while we're viewing the video, please notice page 2. The first question that I would like you to recognize while you're watching the video is, how is the class organized? So has the teacher organized her classroom while they're doing work? And then I would like you to fill out this chart. The chart has certain questions. The activity type, it's actually one activity that the students are doing, but they have created a product that is different. So there are 4 different products or 4 different activities that the students do. So I would like you to list the type of activity, and then I would like you to think about what skills the students use to do the activity and also what intelligences they use to do the activity. And finally, what is the macro strategy or the overall strategy the teacher used? So what I want you to think about is what skill was the teacher teaching during the activity, okay? So it goes rather quickly, so you might have to share ideas with your friends after we watch the video, okay?
Students using different skills. Video segment number 1. In this classroom, the students have chosen a popular song to work on and learn. Here they are demonstrating the results of their work. Look for how the class is organized, different activities that the students do, language and other skills that students are using, and an overall learning and teaching strategy.
Today, I tell about my pain experience. I have heard my friend talk about her boyfriend. She got along with Noom for a year. My group is drawing about this song. This song is about a girl. She has fallen in love with one man, but she can't tell him about her love. She prays every night and she wants him to her boyfriend. Oh my lovely, lovely boy, I need you. Oh my lovely, lovely boy, I do. Let me inside, make me stay, lie beside you. Thank you. Very nice.
Summary. This was a large class. Students worked in groups. Each group had a different activity. One group wrote and acted out a music video. One wrote a personal story that was similar to the story in the song. One group drew a picture about the song and explained it. And one group changed the words of the song. They were using listening, speaking, reading, writing, music, drawing, and drama skills. One strategy the teacher used was to make students aware they were using the song to learn English vocabulary. Number 2, viewing points, learning stations, and self-access rooms.
Okay, Was it too fast? Yes, too fast? Do you want to watch it again?
Yes.
Okay, let's watch it again.
How the class is organized,
you.
different activities that the students do, language and other skills that students are used, how the class is organized, work on and learn. Video segment number 1.
Okay, everybody ready? Watch a second time.
Viewing points for students using different skills. Video segment number 1. In this classroom, the students have chosen a popular song to work on and learn. Here they are demonstrating the results of their work. Look for how the class is organized, different activities that the students do, language and other skills that students are using, and an overall learning and teaching strategy.
Today, I tell about my pain experience. I have heard my friend talk about her boyfriend. She got along with Noom for a year. My group is drawing about this song. This song is about a girl. She has fallen in love with one man, but she can't tell him about her love. She prays every night and she wants him to her boyfriend. Oh my lovely, lovely boy, I need you. Oh my lovely, lovely boy, I do. Let me inside, make me stay, lie beside you. Thank you. Very nice.
Summary. This was a large class. Students worked in groups. Each group had a different activity. One group wrote and acted out a music video. One wrote a personal story that was similar to the story in the song. One group drew a picture about the song and explained it. And one group changed the words of the song. They were using listening, speaking, reading, writing, music, drawing, and drama skills. One strategy the teacher used was to make students aware they were using the song to learn English vocabulary. Number 2, viewing points. Learning
Okay, let's go over the answers to the questions. First of all, how was the classroom organized in Bangkok? What do you think? How did the teacher organize the classroom? Yes, in groups, absolutely. So they were working in groups. It was a very large class, which all of us are familiar with. And so they solved part of their issue of a large class by working in groups. Hua Hin, what activity did the students do as the product of their activity, the classroom assignment of learning vocabulary from a song? What did the first group do for their activity? Hua Hin, do you know? So activity type for activity number 1. What did the first group do?
Anyone?
Drawing.
Drama?
A drama? Yeah, it was kind of like a drama. They called it a music video. They called it a music video, but it was a drama, and they were singing the song also. So it's kind of a music video, but they had acting or drama. Great. So what skills did they use to do that activity? Yeah, listening was one. Speaking. They also said discussion. So the students had to discuss what they were going to do, and drama. Right? Hua Hin, what do you think, which intelligences do you think the students used the most for doing that activity? It didn't say it on the video. It didn't
Bodily
say it on the video.
kinesthetic.
Yeah, bodily kinesthetic. Great. What else?
What else?
Musical?
Musical, absolutely.
Right.
And what else?
Yeah. Interpersonal.
Naturalist.
Pardon?
Interpersonal.
Yeah, absolutely. Interpersonal. Great. So there were 3 different intelligences being used, 3 different skills being used in the activity that group chose. Bangkok, activity 2, what was it? What did the students do in activity 2? Yeah, say it out. Say it in the. That's number 3. Yeah, they wrote a story which was about their friend, but it was similar story to what happened in the music, in the song that they heard. So they wrote a story to reflect about the song. What skills did they use, Bangkok, for that one? Speaking, yes. What else? Well, they did read off the paper, but what did they have to do first? Yeah, they had to write it, and they had to listen to the song. Good. How about the intelligences? Linguistic. What else? Okay, why spatial? They didn't have a picture. That was a different activity. That was a different activity. But I think that all of the activities use interpersonal and musical, right? So the main different intelligence was linguistic. Good. Nakonsi Tamarat, how about number 3?
We are lost in the wilderness.
Mindy, we are sorry we cannot see anything at the Constitution because of technical problem. No, we don't see anything. We have just here right now.
We're in the dark.
Sorry.
Okay, maybe we follow up later.
Okay. I guess they couldn't see the video. So how about number 3? What was the activity in Bangkok? Yeah, they drew a picture. So what were the skills used? Speaking, yes. Okay, for intelligences, yeah, bodily maybe because they're drawing. Interpersonal, musical, and spatial. Great. Hua Hin, how about number 4? Did you catch the activity for number 4? Did anyone see which activity for number 4? This one is a hard one because we didn't actually see what they did. We saw them singing, but actually they changed the words of the song. So the skills that they used were listening, reading, writing, and vocabulary. And the intelligences were interpersonal, linguistic, musical, right? Okay, so through this activity, the teacher has accomplished teaching many skills and meeting the needs of the different intelligences in her class because the students were able to choose their product. They were practicing vocabulary, right? That was the macro strategy. They were practicing vocabulary. On the board, you'll see I've written four different aspects of the classroom process. The first one is the content, so what we are teaching. The second one is process, how we teach it. The third one is product, what we get from the students, so what we get from the students. And the last one is learning environment. In this video, what were we talking about? Which of these four things did they display in the video? Was it the content? A little bit. We didn't get to see very much about the content. What about in Hua Hin? Which ones do you think we saw in the video? Hua Hin?
Product.
Yes, absolutely. The thing we saw the most in the video was about the product. So what the students were giving back to the classroom, what the students are showing the teacher. So when we're thinking about multiple intelligences, we can think not just about the process, about how we're teaching, which we practiced on the worksheet with the chart worksheet. That was mostly about process, how the teacher is teaching the class, right? But we also need to think about product and how the student is producing the information. Which intelligences do they need to use in order to show us what they've learned? So for instance, for content, we might have a variety of things in the classroom. So we wouldn't just show students a text, but we would have a text and also something for listening, like a tape or something like that. We might have a variety of reading materials at different levels, so we're meeting student needs. For process, we might use different levels of activities, so not just working with students who have lower levels, but also higher levels for those who are a little bit better at English than the others. So we want to make a variety within the classroom. The next activities that we're going to watch on the video are a little bit different. We're working with more the learning environment and meeting the needs of students through the learning environment. So let's look at the worksheet for the last video. It's on page 5. Hopefully, Nakhon Si Thammarat, you'll be able to see it this time. So we're going to be looking a little bit more at the learning environment and how we can use the many intelligences by changing our learning environment. So how we can meet the needs of the various student intelligences. So the first question, we're going to look at a self-study center. And I would like you to pay attention to what things you see in the self-access center that the teacher shows and that the video shows us. Next, I want you to look at the resources that the teacher has available in the self-access center. So what can the students do there? And then they will show some pictures of students. So what are the students doing in the room? So what are they actively doing? And then I would like you to notice some techniques that the teachers are using that help students take responsibility for their own learning. So how are they being autonomous learners? And then last, look for things in the self-access center and in the activities that the teachers do that helps them to motivate the students, making language real. Okay? So let's have a look at the video.
And self-access rooms. Video segment number 2. A Another way to meet the needs of individual learning differences is to set up learning stations or a self-access area or room. Some reasons for a self-access area are so that learners can have choices and they can work at their own pace, so that learners can have access to a variety of materials and do different tasks, so that learners can work together on projects and activities, and so that the teacher can have more time to work with small groups or individuals.
SEAR stands for Student English Access Room. So this is the room for encouraging students to come and practice more skills of English, like speaking, listening, reading, and writing. This is the project from all the project are Material 5, because I teach Material 5, and they work in groups like this. Normally I cannot remember the name of the students, so they put their faces on this like this. This is the taco herbs. Yes, taco is the name of the tree that our school focus on, these taco herbs. And this is the name of them, and then we plan and then use it to run it with the student bit by bit, day by day, years by years, and up until now. They can produce it very, very good. At first they need to plan. I use 10 steps from Storer and then let them understand. I have 4 stages of using project work teaching. The first one, I just introductory by let them understand the project work, and then I use the example project for them. The first example for me is smoking project, to let them know that smoking is not good, to let them get the information, and then they can analyze the information, and then they conclude and present it to the class. After that, I control them to make the project of smoking. After that, they will do it by my help. According to my help, they do the project 1, and then after that, they can do it by themselves with their interest for project 2, and they develop until now. They can do it by integrated how to run the project to other subjects, like taco is for the botany, and herbs is for science. So they can run this and get the point from me, and then they can ask for another score from another ajahn in their subjects. This is the name of the project, and they have the brochure to present. This is to present for the brochure. They do it by themselves, but with my help with the language. But it is a lot of students. I teach about maybe 25 groups to do this, so it wastes a lot of time to change, to develop the language. This is the transparency for them to get the information and then present to the class. When evaluation, not only me, but they themselves, they can evaluate themselves and their friends too. And sometimes I let the parents to come and have a look at their kids' project. After the 3rd years, they can have a lot of examples to have a look. I just guide them to have a look at the examples. Yes, and when they get the information, they present this to show that it is the real thing to do.
Notice the different sections or areas of this self-access room and the kinds of resources that are available. There is a schedule to help students determine when they can use different areas of the room. This room can be used for independent study or for group work. A similar but smaller self-access area can also be created in one corner of a classroom, or even on a cart that moves from class to class. Teachers can gradually develop areas or carts as time and the availability of materials allow. Workstations are another way to support individual learning differences. Students can work together or individually at a station. Using workstations can give the teacher time to work with one group while other groups are working on something else. Workstations can also give students the opportunity to manipulate things to help them learn, which is a different kind of learning.
See, these two are tried. Did you see that? Can you show this to everybody? See, so these...
At one station, students put together a brain puzzle as part of learning about its parts and their functions. Another way to learn is to use the world outside the classroom. For this project, students counted all the different animals they saw in their neighborhoods. Then, at one of their workstations, they combined that information into a graph. Summary. Self-access centers or areas and workstations give learners choices. They allow learners to work at their own pace. They provide access to a variety of materials and opportunities to do different tasks. They provide materials for working together on projects and activities, and they provide time for the teacher to work with individuals or groups. Module focus. Summary. The focus in Module 11 has been on individual learning differences. Teachers can vary approaches and techniques to help facilitate learning for a wide variety of learners. When they vary the type of language input along with the content and the medium of delivery. They vary learner tasks. They teach learning strategies. When they help students take responsibility for their own learning, and when they use group work appropriately. See the manual for readings and more information on this and other topics related to individual learner differences.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left, so I want to just quickly go over some of the main aspects of the last video. What types of projects did you see that they presented in the two different sections of that video? First, they had a woman talking about the Self-Access Center. What kinds of projects did you see and hear her talking about? Nakonsi Tamarat or Hua Hin, you can offer your ideas as well.
Herb project, the Go Herb.
Yeah, so some of the students doing project work where they did it over a whole year, it sounded like. They were collecting data and talking about herbs, okay? So one project type could be a project that you do over a long period of time. And she said, first, I talk about project work. Second, I teach them about a project that someone else has done. Third, we do it together. And fourth, they do it on their own in groups. Good. Did you see any other projects? Maybe we didn't hear about them, but did you see any other projects? What other projects did you see? Pardon? Yeah, the anti-smoking projects. That was the example project, I think, that she did with her students, was an anti-smoking project. Did you see any other ones that maybe she didn't talk about? I noticed somebody said, oh, tsunami. It looked like there was a project on the bulletin board. I'm not sure if it was photos, but it looked like some photos possibly. There were also models. Did you see the models? Some clay pots or something like that. And there were some other projects done in the final segments, but they were in a different classroom. One was a brain project about the brain, and another project was asking the students to go into the world and to count how many animals they saw of certain types. So that was like a real world project that the students did. So you could see a variety of different projects going on. How about the self-access area? What things did you see in the self-access area? Nakonsi Tamarat, did you see the video this time?
Yes, Mindy.
What kinds of things did you see in the self-access area?
Simplify short story, really,
Yeah.
and varieties of the things, materials, tasks in the self-access center.
Great. Yeah, we had a lot of books. They displayed student work. There were many projects displayed like you saw. There were also a schedule. There was a schedule that one of the teachers had made for the students to do different activities in the self-access room. Good. So how many of you have self-access centers in your school right now? Can you raise your hand if you have a self-access center at your school? So maybe you got some ideas for making one if you don't have one. One of the ideas I really like is if you don't have a room, having a cart. Why not put a little cart with books and things you can take from class to class, or having a section of your room be the self-access center. In Hua Hin, what kind of techniques did you see the teacher using to encourage students to work alone, to work autonomously? What kind of techniques did the teacher use, Hua Hin? How did the teachers get the students to work on their own?
The one I thought is ask the student to ask another teacher for information to do the project.
Okay, good. So part of it was asking the students to do project work, and some of those projects involve their other classes. Is that what you mean?
And they can ask another teacher in that school to give them the information to do the project.
Right, right. So these students did something about herbs, and they asked their science teacher, right, or their botany teacher.
Yeah.
Good. What other techniques did you see from either Nakhon Si Thammarat or Bangkok? What other techniques did the teachers use? Yes.
I saw the teacher put some instruction on the board if they would like to listen to the tape. Some instructions to tell them.
Exactly. Good. So they had instructions written in the self-access room, so they didn't have to have a teacher there at all times to monitor. The students knew what they had to do. Anything else that you noticed?
How about the workstation?
Great. In Hua Hin, the workstation, the students were working in small groups or individually, and they could go
and they
from
can help
workstation.
each other.
Yes.
Right.
Good. So that's another way to work autonomously. Did you have another one here in Bangkok? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the students could look at other people's projects for ideas. Sure, that's another way to work autonomously. They don't need to ask the teacher every time. They can look at the projects of other students. All right. Last, how about motivation? What were some things that the teachers used to motivate the students to study in the self-access room or to work on their own? Any motivation that you saw?
Environment.
Sorry, yeah, the environment is definitely one. A self-access room should motivate students because it should have materials that they want to look at. Certainly. Did you have one? Yes. Okay, giving a task, certainly. I think we are out of time, aren't we? No? Oh, using the microphone. Pardon me. So yes, absolutely. We need to give tasks to our students to motivate them, but finding tasks that they're interested in. So when the teacher assigned the project work, the students were allowed to choose what they wanted to do their project about. So that was certainly a motivating factor. Anything else that you saw that was motivating for the students? I think one of the things that they're trying to get across in the video as well is that a self-access center can provide materials that meet the intelligences of different students because the students are allowed to choose what they would like to use in the self-access room. Now, in one of the rooms, they had assignments like, okay, this student will do the reading room this time, and this student will use this facility, maybe the computers. So maybe that allows the students to try using different skills. But they should have many different activities that will test or utilize the intelligences or the strengths of the students, as well as challenge them to use the intelligences that they may not be as strong in. With this, I would like to close our talk today, but I wanted to know if there are any questions. We didn't get to do a lot of activities today, unfortunately. There's not a lot of time in 2 hours, but I hope that you will look back at the chart that I gave you, and maybe you'll come up with some ideas, or it can get you thinking about activities that will utilize the various intelligences of your students. Are there any questions that I can answer before we go? Nakon Sitamrat, thank you. Any questions from there?
Just mainly no question, no answer.
Okay.
and I would like to express my thanks to Mindy, to everyone concerned. And this is a good activity for the teacher to adapt this activity to their own classroom, and very particularly about encouraging the critical thinking. This is important for Thai education now. This is very, very important to help Thailand now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajahn Anirudh. And in Hua Hin, any questions or comments to close?
Any comments? No? Mindy, I think they all enjoy your explanation, and they really can apply some of these useful tips in the teaching environment to encourage the students. So they like it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you in Hua Hin. And in Bangkok, any questions or comments to close?
Could you enlighten us what SEAR stands for?
Oh, yes, the woman at the beginning, she said it on the video. I'm sorry, it wasn't very clear. She said, Student English Access Center. Student English Accent Center. Usually people say Self-Access Center. So it's often called SAC, but she had a special name for SEAC.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So thank you everyone for participating today, and look forward to hopefully in June, maybe I will see you again, or that you will enjoy the rest of the series.
Thank you, Mandy. ค่ะ วันนี้ก็ในหัวข้อ Multiple Intelligence นะคะที่เราดูความแตกต่างความสามารถของเด็กนะคะซึ่งแตกต่างกันแล้วก็เป็นสิ่งที่อาจารย์แมนดี้บอกสิ่งที่ท้าทายว่าเราในฐานะที่ครูผู้สอนภาษาเนี่ยจะทำอย่างไรจะสอนอย่างไรนะคะเพื่อที่จะช่วยสนับสนุนเด็กที่มีความสามารถแตกต่างกันได้นะคะได้อย่างเท่าเทียมกันค่ะก็อาจารย์ลองกลับไปดู Handout อีกทีนะคะแล้วก็มีกิจกรรมตัวอย่างที่ให้ไว้ด้วยนะคะแล้วก็อะไรที่นำไปใช้ได้แล้วก็ใช้ได้อย่างมีประโยชน์ก็ส่งข่าวกลับมาด้วยนะคะค่ะเนื่องจากวันนี้เป็นวันครบ3 ครั้งนะคะของการอบรมนะคะเป็นครั้งสุดท้ายซึ่งวันนี้เราก็จะมีการแจกประกาศนียบัตรนะคะผู้ที่มารับการอบรมนะคะซึ่งทางที่หัวหินแล้วก็ทางนครศรีธรรมราชก็จะได้รับประกาศนียบัตรด้วยนะคะแต่วันนี้นี่ท่านขวัญแก้ววัชโรไทยนะคะท่านประธานมูลนิธิอยู่ที่นี่ก็จะขออนุญาตเรียนเชิญท่านนะคะเราจะมีพิธีแจกประกาศนียบัตรให้กับอาจารย์ที่มาเข้ารับการอบรมที่ไซต์ที่กรุงเทพที่บริษัท TOT นะคะค่ะขอเรียนเชิญค่ะ